As a Christian ethicist, as I ponder the future of being human, or even the future of the human being, I'm excited and scared. Given my age, that excitement and fear are probably more for your generation than for mine. Before talking about the future of being human, let's talk about the present of being human. If we're honest with ourselves, we'll have to admit that the present human condition is a mixed bag. There's much to be commended about it. Most of us will enjoy longer lifespans. By the way, guys, women tend to live longer than us. More freedoms and choices in the schools we attend, in the work we do, more opportunities for leisure and travel. Most important, more equality for everyone, regardless of race, gender, or sexual orientation. To all these things, I give a big thumbs up. If we continue to be honest, we'll have to admit that there's also much that worries us. It's difficult to fathom how much extreme poverty persists in a world of plenty, poverty that's often skewed by race and gender. Income inequality is getting worse. But if you raise the issue, you're accused of class warfare, inhumanity in how we treat one another violently, and how we're indifferent to the pleas of the millions of refugees fleeing from oppression and war is all around us. And our abuse of our home, the earth, is at a tipping point. Here we have to give a big thumbs down. If we continue down this path, the future of being human might look something like this, or even this. Do current human beings have it within themselves to change these possibilities? It depends on who you ask. Transhumanists suggest that the future of being human can be bright if we would just listen to their prescriptions. What is transhumanism? Max Moore defines it this way. Transhumanism is both a reason-based philosophy and a cultural movement that affirms the possibility and desirability of fundamentally improving the human condition by means of science and technology. Transhumanists seek the continuation and acceleration of the evolution of intelligent life beyond its currently human form and human limitations by means of science and technology, guided by life-promoting principles and values. Sounds good, doesn't it? Of course, the result of their prescriptions, they suggest, will be what will become post-human. Mark Walker writes, Transhumanism is the thesis that we can and ought to use the technology to alter and improve human biology, making ourselves smarter, happier, long-living, and more virtuous. The operative assumption here, of course, is that intelligent moods, longevity, and virtues each have their deep roots in our biology. Thus, he writes, by altering biology, transhumanists propose to improve human nature to the point of creating a new species, posthumans. It's the next stage in our evolution where technology and reason can take control and generate a better person and a better world. Heady stuff, isn't it? For many, there's a kind of salvific element to this. Posthumans will be more intelligent, stronger, live longer, and be more virtuous, because they conclude, some would say wrongly, that these traits are primarily products of our biology. Alter the biology through reason and technology, and the result will be an improved human or a new genus, posthuman. Some transhumanists, like Ray Kurzweil, the inventor of the flatbed monitor, believes that we may someday be able to upload our consciousness into a new and improved artificial body, or even onto the internet, where our consciousness will live on in perpetuity, or until the internet no longer functions. Until that day, we may have to freeze our brains in a cryogenic state. Gives a whole new meaning to brain freeze, doesn't it? Because of the intellectual, physical, and mostly virtuous superiority, they will have more effectively put into place what transhumanist philosopher Nick Bostrom calls the loud or social values. The values are that we're all clamoring for in light of the social evils that persist. Elimination of all forms of unnecessary human suffering linked to the limitations of our bodies, such as aging. Will put an end to sexism, racism, classism, and every other ism that plagues us. Sounds heavenly, doesn't it? The challenge for them will be to instill the quiet values of self-restraint, compassion, mercy. Those values we currently seem to have difficulty practicing. Let's face it, given their superiority, They would have to practice these virtues in relationship to those who are not post-human if they're serious about eliminating the kinds of social ills that are currently exacerbated by inequalities in genetic and economic disparities. What will these virtuous post-humans look like? Hollywood has some images of them, but these tend to be heroic images, where overcoming of the injustices sometimes requires violent means. The transhumanist vision is that this will all take place through superior reason, insight, and virtue, which will occur as a result of overcoming the deficiencies of past developments in human biological and technological evolution. Theirs would be a dignity of the strong, consisting of self-restraint and the positive nurturance of both internal and external values. As an ethicist, I prefer the nonviolent method, which data reflects. Lest you think that such a post-human future is only stuff of science fiction, and it is, let's recognize how much we already live and move and have our being in a technological context. Would we be the humans we are today without our technology? We are, among other things, Homo technologicus. I don't see that changing anytime soon. As some theologians would argue, we're already cyborgs. All human beings are naturally born cyborgs because we all form relationships with technology that expand the human mind outside bodily limits. Everyday appliances shape human identity and behavior. The boundaries between organism and machine are constantly crossed. Of course, I'm talking here about a techno-cultural cyborg rather than the biological, where humans are fused with technology. Of course, we could claim that many of us are already fused with our cell phones, given that they're seldom, if ever, far from our hands or ears. But I am not a scientist, an engineer, or a philosopher. Professor Clancy asked me to participate on this panel as an ethicist. So what do I, a Christian social ethicist, think about the future of being human? In truth, I have no problem with the techno-social cultural view of the cyborg. After all, according to some theologians, we're all created in the image of God, and thus we are created co-creators. According to Lutheran theologian Phil Hefner, to be co-creator is to be able to imagine a human nature that is transhuman, and to possess the wherewithal to bring it into actuality. Christianity has always called for people to be more virtuous, to work for and on behalf of the poor, to end hunger, violence, and promote justice. If these are part of what our current human condition includes, then their elimination suggests a post-human state. I applaud the scientific and technological community for their advancements in medicine and enabling physically challenged persons to acquire mobility and to ameliorate the painful circumstances of death and dying. I too am drawn to the future of being human or post-human, where everyone's included, where the common good, the sum total of social conditions which allow all people to flourish and find fulfillment, is nurtured and respected. Like Martin Luther King Jr., I look forward to the day when the beloved community, where people live in peace and where they are judged by the conduct of the character, rather than the color of their skin, their gender, or sexual orientation, is a reality. And I look forward to a time where ecological harmony is restored and we become wise enough to learn from our past mistakes. But I'm also aware of the dangers that lurk in this transhumanist vision, especially when these technologies are wedded to a laissez-faire capitalism, which puts profits over persons, where unbridled greed is considered to be good, where the technological developments are hidden behind the mask of corporate intellectual property, even when the negative effects have the potential to wreak havoc on society and nature. I don't care what the Supreme Court says in its Citizens United case. Corporations are not persons. I'm concerned with the overly individualistic pursuit of freedom and autonomy, even morphological freedom, where transhumanists suggest that freedom we enjoy politically and economically will be complemented with freedom from our biological limitations, especially when that freedom is not partnered with a strong corresponding sense of responsibility. I believe strongly that our rights to participate freely and equally in the civil and economic benefits of society entail a corresponding duty to exercise those rights responsibly, with an eye toward the common good, as well as our own individual goods. I'm also concerned about the Enlightenment ideal about progress that seems to be driving much of this, that somehow through our science and technology we can overcome everything that ails us. Not all progress is necessarily good. Oppenheimer recognized this reality when, after observing the destruction associated with the first nuclear bomb, he said, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Sometimes the effects of technology are ambiguous. We need to accept and not fear the inherent ambiguity of our technological development, sure, but before, not after, we employ technology that has inherent existential risk, we need to ask how this technology promote our life-giving values. We need scientists who are aware of their ethical responsibilities in their explorations. I may get myself in trouble with this, but there's a false humility on the part of some scientists when they claim they're doing nothing but following the dictates of science. It comes across as a deliberate attempt to obscure their own actions. I understand the thirst for knowledge that basic researchers seek to quench, but as Michael Crichton warned in his book Jurassic Park, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So if the future of being human or post-human is to be brighter or better than today, it's imperative that we not leave these developments purely in the hands of scientists and engineers. We need a constant dialogue with theologians, ethicists, politicians, policymakers, and you, citizens, to ensure that the future of being human is a future we want, a future in which we have a voice and say, and not one we will regret. Thank you.